Welcome to the board.
They're introducing while you're there. I forgot.
Good name tag.
Oh, this is Adam McCready. He's going to be running for the board. And I've talked to them beforehand, so he knows that line. It's nothing new. I didn't surprise him. And I saw him at Bueno, too, so Bueno Beef. So, anyways, I just want to share. Those are the three things, one of the three things you're going to be known for. And it's not good, because people will remember you. You're not going to be forgotten. When they see you at Mariano's, when they see you at the game, when they see you at RHS, and it's a fact. Ask people who went to the referendum at RHS. There are people who do not want to get involved because they've lost a lot of friends. So here we are. This is the contentious point for this night. And we have made a lot of adjustments, sir. I don't know your name in the first row, but we've made a lot of adjustments. Our support staff had a 0% increase in their salaries. I had a 0%. Our administrative staff is going to be 0%. And you're going to hear stories out there. You're going to hear about our salaries are too high for the administration. When we compare them to our local schools, based on what we're doing versus other schools, we have the lowest number of administrators in the area. In fact, I think we have the lowest in the state. So you have 3 people doing all the work with our teachers, and I think we need to be commended. That's always been the theory here. We do the rice paper thin work with what we have, and that's our expectation. So we have put measures in place, and we're getting better. But this is where we're at today. This is where we're at today. This is information that I provided, a deficit reduction plan. When I originally presented, there was the blue and the red line. The red line is a current state of affairs with the 1.2 million adjustments that we've had. The lower line was the blue line that was prior to those adjustments taking place.
Everybody see that? Can everybody see the board, or should we turn it?
Yeah, I can. It's unfortunate this is not design space for this. So this information is all online. Call me, ask Dr. O'Malley, you could ask me any questions. I'll be more than happy to sit down or talk with anybody who has any information that needs to be clarified here. But what we talked about over and over is our deficit reduction plan. What will be reduced? What will be cut? This is not going away. We think it's going to go away. We think there's going to be money, but we're not going to be able to sustain our current predicament. We can't. We can't sustain it. We asked for the minimum amount to get us through 6 to 8 years, barely balancing a budget. If that, we may have unbalanced budget year over year over year. But this is where we're at for a 2-year budget deficit reduction plan. And we have 5 scenarios that we came up with, 5 scenarios that we talked about in the public. We've had public meetings. So one of them was the Board of Education has approved a 2-year budget reduction plan, beginning with 26-17-18, cutting $750. This is a requirement from the state. We've submitted this to the state. We have to follow through with the state because that is the expectation. We have to follow through. So tonight we're having discussions on what is going to be encapsulated in the $750,000. And these were the items we talked about prior to running the referendum. Full-day kindergarten, special programs, band, music, art, industrial arts, world language, extracurricular, basketball, cheerleading, soccer, softball, cross-country, pom-poms, transportation, dance, drama, camera, RTI leaders, chorus, scholastic bowl, pride leaders, peer leaders, student council, talent, variety show, battle of the books, and yearbook. Learning center aides, office aides, summer school, instructional technology, and field trips. That's where we're at today. That's where we're at today. And it's not, no one is going to be popular leaving this table. They're not going to be. It's the minimal amount we were able to put on the ballot because we need a win. The community needs a win. It needs a win. And so this is our discussion for this evening. And I thought I'd just open it up with this because I think there's a lot more to this than you receiving a phone call about a cut. There's a lot more to this. Multiple presentations. We talked about it a lot, and again, this is where we're at for this evening. And that's pretty much where I'm going to leave it at. Then I'm going to shift to the board having discussions about the 5 options or 5 scenarios, unless it's on. Okay. Do you want me to introduce these two?
start off with, talk about option four,
Sure.
what we agreed to.
So we have been working with a consultant, and one of the things we talked about is how much money we are going to put onto the ballot in the form of a question. By the way, we don't design the ballot questions; they're designed by law. They're designed by law, so they can get lost in the shuffle. That's one of the reasons we've been aggressive in going out and presenting on it. But they're designed by law. They have to be written in a specific manner. Written in a specific manner. So the question, the one that we put to the ballot, the 1.2 million, is basically, it equates to $92, approximately slightly greater than $92 on $100,000 of the EAV. Okay, $92 on $100,000. And there's people in my life that said, Dr. Maley, there's no homes worth $100,000 in Norridge. Well, there is. I've seen them. I've seen them sold. So feel free, you could go look on. There are $100,000 homes. But we, the committee, chose to pick 250 because we believe that's near the average for Norridge. And we believe the majority of people are near the average. And so with that being said, our original question that we put on the ballot was for $2.5 million in the operation. Which for educational purposes. We believe that would have basically carried us out anywhere from 8 to 10 years, conservatively. So if you think about it, we've cut that in half. We've cut that in half, and with our scenarios that I'm going to show on the page before this, with the scenarios, it changes the dynamics and what we can and cannot do. Because we want the win, but we want to be mindful, just a little bit, right, Gus? Just a little bit. Yeah, sometimes that memory, it doesn't fade that quickly. But just a little bit. Is there something you put a little bit on that ballot that's more amenable to the home? So we listened. We made adjustments. So with an adjustment, there's going to be ramifications. There's going to be. And so the 1.2 million means that we are going to have to permanently cut $750,000 out of our budget. We have no choice. We have no choice. We could choose that we're not going to do that. The board could do that, but I can assure you that it's not going to last. And when you say, Dr. Maley, how long is it going to last? I would say maybe, if we're lucky, 3 to 4 years. Maybe if we're lucky. But based on what we're presented with, based on the professionals that we worked with, we're trying to go out 6 to 8 years. We want this to last as long as possible, because you're right, we have to earn trust. And trust can be only earned through action. We have to act. We have to create benchmarks. We have to show you what we're doing with the money. That's going to be our expectation, and we'll own that. We'll do a good job of that. I'm sure of that. I'm confident. And we're not going to earn everybody's trust. That's just not the way it works. That's just not the way it works. It'll be very difficult. But we want to try to earn as much trust as possible. So we're going to have to permanently cut 750. Based on presentations we've done, based on discussions, we've narrowed it down to 2. Option 4 and option 5. Is that a true statement?
Yes. Can you explain the options?
I just want to make sure I'm right on that first. I'm checking with my board before I present. So we've narrowed it down to scenario 4 and scenario 5. I'm going to walk through this. In scenario 4, you're going to have higher class sizes in the middle school, 6 through 8. You're going to have higher classes in the middle school, 6 through 8. However, the elementary, we're going to look to basically bringing those class sizes down. It's been a tradition in this district to have 30 kids in kindergarten. 30 kids in kindergarten. Right? For some of us, we know what it's like to handle our own 5-year-old. But we have teachers that had 30 kids in the classroom. Meanwhile, junior high classes were at 17. Less. Not to diminish the profession, I would never do that. Not to diminish. It's a relative with respect to the individual that's teaching that class. So we have to be respectful. So scenario 4 is where we'll have slightly higher classes in the middle school. We'll basically reduce the kindergarten to half day, so you go to half-day kindergarten. It will no longer be full day, it'll be half day. We're going to have regular education program cuts of about $240,000. The art program we will no longer have. The music program we will no longer have. Industrial arts we will no longer have. As well as all sports and clubs, committee curriculum work, learning center, instructional technology, or instructional deferment, office assistants, reading specialists, and field trips. So when I add that up, when I add up scenario 4, it basically equals $858,000. Board tonight for 4 can add back if they so choose, as long as the number is $750,000. Does that make sense? So I'm going to repeat it again. According to scenario 4, when we look at eliminating, reducing, we look at efficiencies of our programs, it basically results in a net savings of $858,000. Our state requirement is $750,000. That means the board can add back approximately $108,000. So they're going to be able to decide tonight whether or not they want to add back the kindergarten, or the music, or the art, or the sports. But it cannot be no lesser than the $750,000. The board can choose to do that, but that is not our expectation with the state. We are in a very, very tight deficit reduction plan, as you saw from the graphs. And option five is grade centers. I know it's unpopular. I'm just telling you, one of 3 things, right? Signature programs, cutting our signature programs, right? Cutting our signature programs, grade centers, or raising our taxes. That's where we're at. But in option 5, scenario 5, the way it's laid out here is you'll be able to keep, you basically have, as you go through here, you're going to reduce the kindergarten to half day. You're going to have regular education program grades cuts because you're going to have symmetry between the 2 buildings. Your 5 through 8 will be in one building. Your K through 4 will be in the other. So redundancies will be eliminated. You're going to basically those are the two options. So if you want me to walk through it, I'll be more than happy to walk through it one more time. If you could just raise your hand if you think